Yeah. Here we are.
Okay, I gotta get. Well, welcome to the December 16th, 2023 session of Tangerine SDR and Hamside technical session. My name is Dave, KV0S, and my voice is going out right now. So, and this week I've been getting ready for their Hamvention, put together a talk for the Tapper Forum, and I'll be moderating that in Scotty's absence. And going to be working in the booth, showing off the magnetometer and such. So looking forward to that. Next on the list is Nathaniel, W2 NAF. Go ahead, Nathaniel.
Thanks, Steve. It's been, continues to be very busy here. Trying to finish up the end of the semester, do all the logistics for Dayton and the other conferences. Very grateful to all the people who've been working so hard and helping out with that, and just moving along with everything. So looking forward to Dayton. Back to net.
Okay. Next on the net or on the list is Michael, AAAK. Go ahead, Michael.
Well, thank you. Greetings to everyone listening. Back to you, Dave.
Okay. And then next on the list is Bob, N5BRG. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm in that time sync zone, just like Nathaniel was talking about. It seems like the weeks are just ticking by for me here, but I do have 4 or 5 projects going, and just trying to push them all along just a little bit every week. And kind of miss the concept of going to Dayton. I'm not going to go, and I used to really enjoy wandering around in that flea market, and always picked up almost more than I could carry home.
Yes.
And also sitting in some of the forums and presenting in some of the forums in the past, but spending time in the booths as well. So I'm envious of you guys that are going to go there, and be sure and have a good time. And anyway, that's all I've got to say tonight. Back to you,
Yep.
Dave.
Okay. And just to remind everybody that might see the recording, Tapper and Hamside will be in building 5 in our usual general spot in the southwest corner. So come by and see us. Next on the list is David, N1 HAC. Go ahead, David.
Hello, everyone. For some reason, my computer decided to take a powder, and took a long time to come up this evening, but it decided that it was going to behave. And looking forward to getting to the Hamvention, doing some last minute preparations, things to get done before and things to get done for it. Leaving Wednesday, and then to show up on Friday and Saturday and do the whole thing. Looking very much forward to it. Haven't been able to get there, of course, since before COVID. So hoping to get a lot out of it, and maybe actually give a bit. So back to net.
Well, that's good. I remember talking to you a few years ago at Tom Holmes' house. So I think that's the last time I've seen you in person, though. So anyway, next on the list is Dylan. Go ahead, Dylan.
Okay, so this whole entire week has been, well, all of last week, I should say. This is a new week. And well, all of last week and all of this week, I will be sitting here doing everything I can to prepare as much as I can for Hamvention. Right now, putting finishing up putting the car that I'm going to be driving together to get over there. And still waiting on parts. Hopefully they get here tomorrow. Then once I do that, the time that I have in between then, keep on working on my presentation. And Thursday night after work, I'm gonna be taking a 5-hour drive up to Dayton, and depending on when I get there, maybe probably gonna be about 10 o'clock once I get there. So Hamvention's probably gonna be closed up at that point. But maybe do some stuff. I'm not quite sure, but I'm definitely gonna have a fun time on Friday and Saturday, and then I'm gonna leave Saturday night. So other than that, don't really have anything else. So I'll send it back to Net Control.
Well, very good. And next on the list is Gary, AF8A. Sounds like you've been busy this week.
Yeah, Dave, a little bit. Just trying to get things in shape for the Hamvention. So as we meet and greet people, we can send them off to the Hamsite website and they'll find the information they need, hopefully to find interest and participate in some of our events. We've obviously got a lot going on between now and the next eclipses. Other than that, yeah, I'm just scrambling to get ready. Got to work on my presentation tomorrow a little bit, pack a couple of bikes in the truck, and get some clothes in the suitcase, and I guess I'll be ready to go. I've got a couple of questions for Nathaniel, but we can wait till after roll call. That's back to you, Dave.
Okay. Next on the list is Jay Schwartz. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. How's the audio? Everybody hear me okay?
Yes, fine.
Okay. Gary, remember a couple of the meetings on Thursday, that I signed up to work on specifications for the analysis, and I've started to work on that. Now, obviously, with Hamvention here, I'm not going to get anything done this week, but I started to pull together some requirements that to put into a document and get it out, the next couple of weeks after we get back. The goal is that you're going to have one document that says, okay, we want to do some analysis here, and here's a top level, a high level set of requirements for what that analysis should be, what the inputs should look like, how we're going to store it, a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, again, it's a high level, starting at a high level, and that will be requirements from which we will get specifications. And from that, we'll actually get something, hopefully, that you can give to anybody that says, okay, you write something that executes requirement number 7, and make sure you don't contradict anything else. You're not, it has to be in accordance with everything else, but you are going to do requirement number 7. And that will also, and that will drive not only how we collect the data, organize it, store it, take into account all that other stuff, and it'll be in writing. Now, it's going to be a living document, so there's absolutely nothing that says that that version 1.0 is the final version. We can have as many versions as we want, but the goal is it's all written down so that you can give it to everybody and everybody understands what they're doing. So that's what I'm going to be cranking away at. Other than that, yeah, I got to start packing tomorrow myself to get things. Wednesday is drive day. Thursday is contest university. And then go for it from there. And in operating, I got an Israeli on 20 meters FT8 or FT4. And on FT4 on 20 meters, I got the Falkland Islands and Asiatic Turkey. So those are all new countries for me. So I'm happy. 50 watts on a Morpine junk vertical. Other than that, I think that's about all I've got from here. everybody. Hope to see you all. May we all have a safe trip down and back from the pilgrimage. If I don't see you at the booth or something, we already have the tickets for the banquet on Friday night. 7 free to all. See you down there. Back to Net Control.
Oh, yes, I should remind people that if you want to go to the banquet, you have to have your ticket before you get there. They keep saying there will not be extra tickets allocated. So just a reminder. Let's see. Next on the list is Joe, W7LUX. Go ahead, Joe.
Good evening, everyone. Grape is plugging along. Nothing super spectacular recently, although there's certainly more solar activity than there has been in the past. And not sure what's going to happen next couple of days. The weather people are predicting very unusual summer rain flow from down south coming up here. Usually May and June are very dry, not a drop, not a cloud or anything. I'm looking outside and it's totally overcast. Anyway, very unusual weather. Back to you, Dave.
We're getting some of that too here, and it seems to have clouds scattered all the way out to the west coast, bit by bit. So next on the list is Jonathan, KC3EY. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Hi, everybody. It's been an extremely busy week for me. I do not have much to report. I've been dealing with a bunch of different, non ham side related stuff. But there were two things. I provided some pictures and a schematic for the VLF preamp and active antenna that I use at with my VLF system, and I gave him all the information. He mentioned that he's not sure yet if he wants to build it, but he has all the information that he needs to start. I told him that I'll gladly help him with any questions or anything. Also, I contacted Vasela, and they offer a bunch of different data products for lightning location and weather. Apparently, they operate the NLDN. And I was interested in lightning location data, and they have many different services for various different things, and for some reason they're very protective of their data. I don't really understand the reasoning behind it, but they're the only game in town, so. Or they're one of the few games in town, so but still they're extremely protective of their data. They do not like to give people access to large amounts of lightning location data, but anyway, but they have a product that would be beneficial to me. I believe it from what I remember, it's called the Lightning Exporter, which allows me to look at historical stroke data. So if I'm looking for something that happened in the past, I could simply punch it in for the time frame and a bounding box of the location, and I could get JSON and CSV data and also individual data files for each stroke. And they said that normally their products are very expensive, and I asked for the price multiple times and they would not give it to me. However, they said that they have data for academic use. That's basically free, and you get everything that that you would normally get in the paid product. So I have to sign up for that, and that'll give me what I'm looking for. Other than that, I've been kind of scrambling to get things done here. It's a busy 2 weeks for me. So getting the garden in and getting everything ready and all that stuff. So I really didn't have much free time. That's all I have. Back to the net.
Okay, and I believe I've called on everybody on the list, so if you haven't been called on, let me know. And otherwise, we're open for general discussion.
Yeah, I've got a quick question on the logistics at the Hamfest, and we've got the forum talks and the booth talks. Do we bring our presentations if we got PowerPoints on a jump drive? Do you see anybody got a suggestion? Or I'd rather not have to haul a laptop on my bike into the Hamvention. I'm looking for alternative ideas.
Yes, I think Neil had a laptop last time, and he sent me an email about logistics today.
Yeah, he and I
Wow.
talked about that briefly today. He said that he's brought a laptop in the past, but never used it because everybody brought their own. But then he sent you and I that Wi-Fi and SSID and password too.
Okay. I
You
have-
could send a file to like Nathaniel.
Yeah. I have a small laptop that I'd be okay leaving over by the in the booth talk area if that's what it needed to be. It's not a great laptop, but I think it will work.
Yeah.
I'll
As long
probably
as-
bring a couple of laptops with me just in case.
Okay, as long as it's got an HDMI connection, because I believe that's what the cable will be off the TV, what Neil told me, so.
Well, I'm the one bringing the TV too, so I'm intimately familiar with the TV. It's lived in a box in my office for the past year.
My guess is too, you're gonna hand that off to me on Wednesday and I'll bring it in on Thursday, is that the plan?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah, make sure I got room for it in the truck then, I'll leave one of my bikes behind in the hotel room, so, okay.
Okay. It's all in the original manufacturer's box. So it's like a, $200 Walmart special.
Okay, well, I've got a Honda Pilot, so I believe we'll be able to stand it up and slide it in the back, so.
Okay. Yeah, and then on Wednesday I'll give you a call as we're driving to figure out more of where to meet up and things like that.
Sure,
So
sure.
whether we meet up at my hotel or where are you staying?
I'm in Springfield. I'm about 20 or so miles northeast of Xenia, so I'm gonna have to travel wherever we're going, so don't worry about that.
Okay. Because I know another possibility was Ward Silver had some things. He has some Yasmi banners to drop off. So he was either gonna come by and stop by wherever we are, or I think he'll be at the Hope Hotel that night. So the other possibility is we go over to the Hope Hotel and do the meetup over there. But maybe we can coordinate more as we're driving on Wednesday.
Okay, sounds good. One other question in general, Mackenzie's been very busy and very prolific on putting out some nice posts on Facebook and Discord and that sort of thing.
Yes, it's been wonderful.
Yeah, she's doing a nice job. Are you aware, does Hamsai have a Twitter account? I thought she had asked me about that too, and of course, I wouldn't know about it. I don't have a Twitter account myself, so.
I don't think we do. I can't remember. I have a personal Twitter account, but I think I've sent all of like 3 tweets on it. But I don't
Okay.
think we do.
Okay, I'll ask her about that. I'm not sure where she got the idea. I'll ask her about that. One other thing, if I can screen share for a second, let me try something.
Sure.
See the Hamsai logo here, the square one?
Yeah.
So the Discord server kind of needs a logo or an avatar, but our normal long, I guess you call it landscape style, isn't going to fit in the little circle they give you.
Yes.
Would it be okay to appropriate our real logo and use something like this for Discord?
Yeah, I've done something like that. I think I also have one that is more square and that has our website underneath it somewhere. Let me see if I can dig that up.
Yeah, because you and I are both admins, so if we figure out which one we want to use, I should be able to go up there and pop it in there.
Yeah.
It'd be good for me to practice, so.
Yeah, I mean that one's good for now, but just give me 1 second, see if I can find this other I have. I click on here. Huh, it says that is unavailable for unknown reasons. Try clicking there. It looks like my Google Drive got dismounted. It's unfortunate. Try this.
There've been a lot of solar flares wreaking havoc.
On Google?
Yes.
Just about everything. I've been finding a
think
lot
you're
of bugs
right.
in well-established software.
I think you're right, David. Let's see. I'm onto it through the web interface. Let's see. Photos, public relations. Let's see. Logo. AMSI. All right, I'm in my logo.
You said you had to have it in avatar format? Is that right?
No, I that was just the term I used, that's all.
You
Okay.
need a square one. Somewhere I had one where oh wait, there's a folder I'm staring at. It says square logo.
That's a clue. Sometimes
Maybe
it's too easy.
obvious.
It's too obvious, right?
Well, here's okay. So this is not necessarily the one I'm thinking of, but it is. Okay, so logo ham site is square logo. So let's see, I have this.
Yeah, that may be too much detail because this thing is just a little, if it's a, especially when
Yeah.
viewing it on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the square. That's that one. There's another one I had where it was squarish. You know, I think I used it for the mugs. I also have it. I have the favicon just in Morse code.
That's not bad either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that one's kind of fun, but yeah, you really have to know what you're reading to read it.
I want to mention that Dave Witten just joined us. So
Hi, Dave. Yeah, I guess use the one you have for now, and then if I find anything else that I think might be good, I can let you know. And
Yep,
otherwise,
free
just
to change it, so that's cool.
yeah.
All right,
Sorry.
that's it for me. Thank you.
Yeah, I noticed, Gary, that Dave Schwartz sent some information about WWB flyers.
Yeah, I figured we'd put some of those on the table. That would be
Right.
if we can get our hands on them.
Yeah, I think that's good. Let's see. So, anything else? Dave
everybody's
Larson.
just waiting for Dayton.
We are just waiting for Dayton. What do you think about the timing discussions Tom has been having with the FPGA? Do you have any insight into that?
Who's that directed to? Me?
I think you. I think
Oh,
you
okay.
would, you're potentially the one who,
Well, it's the problem is that it's a very esoteric. Well, one thing is it's obvious that the company now Intel and not um, uh, Altera is less interested in the older products.
yeah.
And so the support in the compilers is not being maintained for the older products.
Hmm.
So you've got multiple questions of do you take the, do you try to build it? It is an incredibly frustrating process if you cannot build the code in chunks, because the timing process is new every time otherwise. And
Hmm.
it's not an easy thing to do. So what I'm worried about is, well, do we stick with the max 10 and just do it? Or do we go to a product that's better supported, which is more expensive?
I'd
And
like to see,
we have options to do both, but it's going to be really hard to maintain the max 10 code unless we can keep an older set of Quartus around,
hmm
which I don't know if that's even possible because of the links to the company.
hmm
I think it is possible.
Okay,
I think you can use
but
keep older versions.
it takes somebody that's really versed on how to maintain that. And maybe your is it Mahesh? Is the fellow that working with you,
oh,
Nathaniel?
um,
Oh,
Majid,
Majid.
yeah.
Yeah. Majid, he may know how to do that. He may not.
I don't think he does.
Okay.
I think I'm
So
worried. I'm worried that we're going to spend a tremendous amount of
what
time
would
and
be
money.
nice is if we had another person in the ham community that is fluent in Verilog and all the quirks
Hmm.
to help support Tom and whoever and Majid.
Yeah, and our students.
I don't think they need to do the programming, but they need to help them when they get stuck.
Hmm.
And I don't have that kind of background in Quartus.
Neither do I. I could put an email out to the Hamsci listserv saying that we need somebody.
Yes,
We're looking
and
for
well, I
someone.
was going to mention that if there were any Verilog programmers in our audience,
That were,
we would like to talk to you
yeah,
if you're willing to participate.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the matter of maintaining the appropriate version of Quartus shouldn't be any big deal. I believe they keep older versions available for that reason.
Yes.
And you can have multiple versions loaded, I
Mhm.
believe, as well.
Yes.
So if we need a different version for the Max 10 and the other version of chip, I don't think that's a problem.
Mhm.
The other question, of course, is if we buy a license, is it backward compatible? Does it apply to earlier versions as well, which it ought to?
Yeah.
So we shouldn't be having to buy multiple licenses. I know other software of mine, that is the case.
Mhm.
David, have you done much Verilog?
I've done a little, but not a lot. I'm more comfortable with the other one, with
okay.
VHDL.
Oh, very good.
But yeah, I mean, I know
I-
my way around it, but
I noticed the European, Lawrence switched over.
mhm.
The Englishman that's doing
get-
the
what gets-
new one for Apache Labs.
mhm. What gets me about Verilog is it was never intended to be a programming language.
Yes.
It was a test routine language.
I've done some programming in Verilog, but I know enough not to volunteer to take this on.
Yes. Well,
Too
would you
bad.
volunteer to talk to Tom about it?
What I was doing was more, we were doing mixed signal integrated circuit development. So you had to develop a chip that was going to do essentially what an FPGA does.
Yeah.
And then we would use an FPGA to simulate our designs. We write the code in Verilog that's going to get plowed into the mixed signal device. And then you could take that same code and put it over in Verilog.
Yeah.
We were using the Xilinx product.
Yeah.
And they have some similar architectures, but it's different. And what you have to do is you have to floor plan your design, divide it up into blocks and floor plan it and try to freeze certain sections.
Yeah, and that's what Tom wants to do.
And when you're talking about timing, you're just talking about the clocking of all the TTL logic that's in that circuit so that everything switches at the right time. You don't get errors in your code. And when we were working on projects and there were multiple Verilog programming people, there would be usually like 2 or 3 people for every programmer running test simulations, trying to break it, trying to find cases when it wouldn't work. And we have none of that in this scenario right now.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think we're all the test bed.
Yeah, I think the end users are going to be the people that are going to complain about it not working.
But I did things like wrote SPICE. I did extractions from the integrated circuit to get all the parasitic parameters and write SPICE simulations to simulate timing on the integrated circuit to try to prove that it was going to be okay. Because once you spend $50,000, you wait 6 weeks and you're trying to meet some deadline for a big iPhone manufacturer. You can't have a screw up, it's got to work,
Yes.
So we were doing really what I call exotic things. We had Linux farms of computers running multiple cases of things, trying to make things work, It's hard.
Well, of course, this is all digital, and the software is supposed to be able to handle the timing if we know how to set it up properly.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is what Tom was
Sounds easy, but
last time, is that he's having trouble figuring out how to floor plan it. It seems to want to keep ripping stuff up and moving it on him. That doesn't make sense because you're supposed to be able to do that.
Well, that's probably nuances in their development system that are
Right.
an issue. And their supporting versus non-supporting probably means that an engineer or engineers that they used to have to help you moved on. They're on other
Yes.
projects or they went to other companies. And there's just not anybody there to answer questions like that now.
Now, Scotty does know some of this.
Yeah, I keep trying to call Scotty.
But he's
Has his new house been wired up yet so that he can receive calls?
he's in a trailer in the desert.
Yeah, I keep trying to call him at odd hours, hoping that I might catch him at some time when he feels like he can talk to me.
Well, he may be at Hamcom. He may show up there. Huh? Usually he
I-
does, right?
I don't think he's gonna make it this
Well,
year.
he asked me to cover the Tapper forum for him. So
Hmm.
I'm the moderator, but he's on the schedule as being the moderator.
I could really use some help, like advice and, you know, some advisement here. Especially as I try to bring on students and Majid and people like that.
Yeah. Well, I think
Yeah.
what we need is a collection of people that all know some
Mhm.
and
Right.
try to help each other, but it would be really nice to find somebody that has experience in how to do this to advise us.
Mhm.
And
There are
I'll try to do-
people out there that teach classes in this.
Yes.
Yeah, well, in fact, a good friend of mine or acquaintance, we actually are both part of the Dartmouth Amateur Radio Club. He's a former, just recently retired professor in the engineering school here. He has been teaching FPGA design, and he might be willing to help us out,
Yeah.
especially since he now doesn't have anything to do.
Is
Well,
he? Yeah, right.
You need somebody though that's been working with Cordis, that's been teaching Cordis and.
Yeah, I can't remember which he was.
Not just the problem of the language and of the, you need someone who's familiar with the tool chain and the chip and the state of the documentation
Mhm.
and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All
Yeah.
of which to me sounds like a pretty lost cause.
Well,
Maybe
No,
not.
it's
There are
not a
some
lost
companies
cause.
that are still around that have taught it, and if they still have their people there and they're willing to, then you would have to have money.
Yeah, I need to ask him what families he was working with. I can't remember if
Yeah.
he was teaching the Altair or the Xilinx side of it, but
I
that's
I
at
think
some point
Dave,
it's all the same. I've asked him questions before with design, so
well, David, I hope you can follow through on that one.
yeah, let me see
And
what I can do there.
have you asked your colleague Nathaniel
I
that
haven't had a
teaches
chance yet. I'll need to do
if he
that.
could be just even an advisor?
Yeah,
I
I will
don't
need
know.
to do that.
I think for that, for making decisions about how to move forward, I think an experienced person will be a great asset.
I'm sure he will provide some level of support, especially because, I'm hiring our students that have taken his class,
Yes.
and I'm hiring Majid, and he's been very strongly encouraging me to do that. Like, I'm sure he will provide some level of support.
Yeah.
But how much he can, I don't know.
Well, and also when we get to these points of bifurcation,
Mm,
it'd be nice to have somebody with some experience to help decide what to do.
yeah.
I'll give you the name of a guy that you could call and ask him, if he has Cordis, but any Cordis experience. If not, if he knows somebody that does, and if anybody knows someone, he probably would. His name is Cliff Cummings, Cummings, and he's at Sunburst Design. He teaches Verilog, Introduction to Verilog, which sounds like you've already got that side of it covered. But he has a lot of contacts in California and other places. And he may know somebody that knows Cordis. And his number is 503-641-8446. Now, I haven't talked to him in over 10 years, but
Hopefully not enough people are listening to this that would give him problems.
oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. We're recording this.
And one of the things that I wanted to mention was I also took Dr. Berger's class, but the way that the class was structured, it was typically like most programming courses where they teach you basic tools, but they don't really teach you how to write a program.
No.
So we went through various different tools and aspects of Verilog, just bare bones basics. Not really enough to be comfortable. Like you would need an actual training, you know, like a corporate or engineering training to really get comfortable. And I did well in the class, and the plan was, you know, for the VLF module was I was going to write the Verilog code to get the VLF module running. Because that was the other major roadblock for the VLF module for the Tangerine, was the FPGA code, getting this thing actually working. So that was my plan, but since there has been a lot of stagnancy with the Tangerine, I haven't really focused on that, and I've been focusing more on what I can do now with working systems that I could build, and the system that I have running, just using Raspberry Pis instead of the VLF module and the Tangerine. But that's the drawback of the programming course, at least when I took it, is that it's only designed to teach you basics. You could do basic projects, but you can't really do much more. I still have my FPGA dev board that Dr. Berger said he would ask for them back, but he never asked for them back, so I still have it. But I wasn't really able to make a you know, a lot of it work, especially because what I had to do was I had to log into the remote system, where I forget which tool we used, but it was for Xilinx, and so we had to write the code on the remote system, compile it into a bit file, and then email the bit file to myself, where I could load it on, or I could load it onto the dev board from my own computer at home. So that's kind of what I had to do to actually get stuff working. There were some example code, but again, it's going to be a lot of work from, say, students who take that course to being able to do something with the Tangerine. And unfortunately, I don't know anybody with Verilog programming, and what I was just going to do was I was just going to just download, you know, get a dev system up and running with the tool chain, and read the documentation and just start playing around, because you know, a lot of my career, that's kind of how I learned stuff, even though there wasn't formal training available. But again, that was put on hold. But yeah, I you know, just wanted to mention that. But I hope that if we could have somebody with some technical experience to assist Tom, then I think we could kind of move forward with a lot of the engineering. But unfortunately, I just haven't had time to, you know, get a dev system up and running and start playing around like Tom has.
That, just for your information, there is if you go out to Avnet, which is a distributor, they have a board they call the MicroZ board. And I don't know which development board you had, but that's a Xilinx based product, and there is a package that you can get if you buy that development board that comes with it. So you don't have to go through some other system to do your compiling. You put that on a Windows-based computer and you're off and running. They may even have one similar for the processor that's on your board.
Well,
you
we
know-
do. We have Max 10 evaluation boards, a number of us,
Yes.
that we are using as a development platform.
Yeah, and the development code that came with it was just limited, right? You can do some of the programming.
Well,
but
Yeah,
not
Well,
all.
yeah, there's a free package available for the development software.
Mhm.
But I guess we're wanting to get some of the higher level functions that requires a paid package.
So the dream is to put everything in an FPGA and make it do the whole job for you.
no, the dream is to get it working.
Okay. The simpler solution is to just have it doing the very basic.
Well,
things and spitting
the
data out to the
FPGA
processor.
will be doing, taking in the A to D data, filtering it as, by a normal, regular SDR routines, and spitting it out to an Ethernet interface.
Yeah, but one of our problems is the current architecture, the TCP stack is in a NIOS processor. So it's a Linux that's compiled on the FPGA that basically pulls the data stream and puts it into a TCP stream.
Right.
And that's completely separate code from the code that reads the A to D board.
Right.
And getting those two to, you can get one to work or the other to work, but you can't really compile all of it at once easily.
Yeah, that's what Tom was finding, is that, he was saying that it kept tearing up pieces and recompiling it and then violating the timing.
Yes.
So, yeah, I guess a bunch of us need to noodle on it and
Well, this is the
see
big
how we can,
stumbling
that.
block to move forward, is how to get this to work.
yeah, it may, sometimes it's even just as simple as having to change the pin out, but, what pins are being used.
Yeah.
But we're kind of fixed to a particular pin out right now. But even being able to get individual sections of the code running should help, in terms of knowing where to go next.
Yes.
And,
Well,
I'd
it's
like
a-
to
it's a
certainly see
huge-
us getting the A to D input, and then even getting it into the memory, and being able to read the memory back out through
Right.
whatever means. Doesn't have to
Right.
be through the Ethernet.
Right.
It's a big time sink though, for whoever does volunteer to work on it.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's a
well, it
huge
is.
time sink.
And admittedly, Tom was ahead of most of us.
Yeah, the last system I was working with was actually Altera, and it was in Verilog, and I wasn't very happy working in it, but it was a TI development system that we were working on. It didn't get too far because we lost our student support, but we did get partway to being able to take in data off of a 1.5 gig sample rate A to D and get it into memory. But unfortunately, there was a race condition internally, so it would do it and then it would crash.
Yeah.
That's where we left it.
Well, before we run out of time, do you mind if we look at Jonathan's abstract for CEDAR?
Sure.
Jonathan,
Go
are you-
for it, sure.
Yeah. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. I'll bring it up. Maybe we
I
can-
yeah, I rewrote it for an audience that has never seen something like this before. Instead of the ham site audience. I rewrote it for something that, someone completely new, namely students and, that type of audience.
Yeah, natural radio emissions. Okay, the W2NF KC3 EEY VLF observatory year of operation. Natural radio emissions are naturally occurring radio emissions originating from lightning discharges and interactions with solar wind particles in the magnetosphere. Studying these natural radio emissions gives insight to the D and E layers of the ionosphere and the magnetosphere. Man-made VLF transmissions also provided insight. Let's see. Review track changes. Also provide insight to the D and E layers of the ionosphere. I think you have also and as well, so you probably don't need both of those. A science grade VLF should probably put down very low frequency VLF, and that's 0.3 to 300 kilohertz.
Yeah,
So 30 to 300 kilohertz.
300 hertz to 230 kilohertz.
300 hertz to 30 kilohertz. All right. Man-made very low frequency transmissions also provide insight to the D and E layers of the ionosphere. A science grade VLF reception system can be constructed using a simple VLF receiver, Raspberry Pi, and sound card. Raspberry Pi, comma. I'm an ox.
I'll just point out there's a lot of repetition in here. Like
Yes.
that line, man-made VLF transmissions also and as well are both in that same sentence.
I thought I already deleted that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
we're not seeing your
reading
edits,
that. We're reading your
the email.
we're reading the email.
Oh. I'm sure. Oh. Okay.
Yeah,
How about that?
That's
That's
better.
better.
there you go.
Okay. Yeah, I was making some of those corrections. So
Yep,
starting
yep.
from the top of the corrected one. Natural radio emissions are naturally occurring radio. Okay, so yeah, so even right here, natural radio emissions are
I
naturally
think
occurring
you
occurring.
only
radio,
need to
right.
say natural once, not twice.
Yeah. Our natural radio emissions are, let's see, originate. What did we just say? Originate from lightning discharges and interactions with solar wind particles in the magnetosphere.
I think you want to take the R out of that.
R in front of originate
Yeah.
doesn't need to be there. Yeah.
Natural radio emissions originate from lightning discharges and interactions with solar wind particles in the magnetosphere. Studying these natural radio emissions gives insight to the D and E layers of the ionosphere and magnetosphere. Man-made very low frequency VLF transmissions also provide insight to the D and E layers of the ionosphere. Do you want to put VLF right at the beginning, like natural VLF radio emissions?
VLF natural radio emissions. Yeah.
Sure. So I think we should. Okay, very low frequency VLF, 300 hertz, 300 kilohertz, natural radio emissions. Originate from lightning discharges and interactions with solar wind particles in the magnetosphere. Studying these natural radio emissions gives insight.
You could even just drop the second use of natural radio emissions. Just
say-
studying these gives insight.
I agree. Studying these gives insight to the D and E layers of the ionosphere and the magnetosphere. Studying these natural emissions as well as man-made VLF
Transmissions.
Transmissions gives insight to the D and E layers of the ionosphere and magnetosphere. And then we can
That
delete
works.
that. A science grade VLF reception system can be constructed using a simple VLF receiver, Raspberry Pi, and sound card. Okay. Raspberry Pi, sound card, and GNSS. Global navigation satellite system.
You might just say GPS. Everyone knows what GPS is.
Yeah, this is more,
I know it's more general, but
and global navigation satellite system receiver using free open source. That's a bit of a run-on sentence there, isn't it? A science grade VLF reception can be constructed using a simple VLF receiver, Raspberry Pi. Wait, this is the Raspberry Pi. Jonathan, how does the VLF receiver differ from the Raspberry Pi sound card and global navigation system receiver? You mean like GPS VLF active antenna?
Yeah, so the VLF receiver is technically either the VLF active antenna or the VLF preamp.
well, it's a amplifier and filter ahead of the sound card.
Let's see. Well, we know that using a simple active antenna, Raspberry Pi sound card, and global navigation
Yeah,
system receiver.
take out the comma after Raspberry Pi because it's Raspberry Pi sound card.
No, they're separate. It's an
Yeah,
added
they're
sound card.
two different things.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, Raspberry Pi does not have sound input
Yeah.
resident.
This system, let's see, I want to put a period there, and then I know you have using free open source VLX
Okay.
tools software.
I hit my time limit, so I gotta go do my other chore.
All right, thank you so much, Dave.
73, and hope to see most of you in Dayton.
That sounds great. 73.
See you then.
See you at the pilgrimage.
Yep.
All right.
I got to bug out of here too, guys. 7-3. See you at the pilgrimage also. Take care, everybody. Safe travels.
Thank you. All right.
You could say something like both professional research and citizen sciences may use free open source VLRX tools
Yeah. Let me read it from
to
the top again.
capture and analyze the emissions for further study.
Very low frequency natural radio emissions originate from lightning discharges and interactions with solar wind particles in the magnetosphere. Studying these natural emissions, as well as man-made VLF transmissions, gives insight to the D and E layers of the ionosphere and magnetosphere. A science-grade VLF receiver reception system can be constructed using a simple active antenna, Raspberry Pi, sound card, and global navigation satellite system GNSS receiver. And then it says using free open source VLF RX tool software and be utilized by
And
Is
should be
it-
can.
and what?
The word and after software should be can. CAN.
Can
Yes,
be used.
I figured that out. So what I was gonna
Oh.
do is I was gonna delete that. And this, I call it an instrument. Instrument can be utilized by both professional researchers and citizen scientists
To capture.
to capture and analyze these radio emissions for further study. By recruiting both professional and citizen scientists, the network of VLF reception systems can be used for global study of natural radio emissions using common off-the-shelf components with free open source software. A VLF reception system has been installed into a radio quiet location in Springbrook Township, Pennsylvania. Has been in operation for over a year, capturing and analyzing natural radio emissions and man-made VLF transmissions with the goal to add more systems to this network.
And the man-made should have a hyphen in it.
Great. Jonathan, in a previous version of this abstract, didn't you have more specifics of the events you were actually observing?
Yeah, in the abstract for Hamsci, it went into detail about, or well, it listed the specific natural radio events.
Right. So I can go. Let's see here. The CEDAR. How come I don't have a folder for you yet? Rizzo, Jonathan. Okay. Jonathan Rizzo, CEDAR 2023 abstract. Let's see.
Nathaniel, I apologize for not proofreading this.
Oh, don't, you're doing fine. Let's see. Meetings, this one. I'm trying to earn co-authorship here. Workshop agenda. So I have to do something. So this is the okay, no, this is the one where you're talking about designing this new 3-channel version.
Right, yeah.
So that's a different one. Rizzo.
It should be my original.
This one here.
Yep.
Okay. Let me just copy and paste this for a minute and see if there's anything we could use. I want to add, I think, like one more sentence that says what you're actually showing. In this presentation, we present the design of this system as well as observations of
Copy and paste it without formatting.
yes. In the poster, what science, what events do you really want to show?
I want to show the chorus events, the Whistler events. Those are the primary two. I want to show should I show the ELF tails from Elves events? I don't know if that's too niche.
What, so the ELF, the
Oh,
tales from
this-
the elves events?
Yeah, so I'm talking about how So elves, TLEs. They from this paper that I found, they tend to be generated
Okay,
by
I've been a while.
strokes with continuing currents, and strokes with continuing currents tend to have what's called an ELF tail. So when you look at it in the time domain, there's a little, so there's the initial impulse, that's the VLF impulse, and then there's an ELF oscillatory component. And what I wanted to do was make the connection between this ELF oscillatory component and the ELVS TLE. And by ELVS TLE, that's that circular disc-shaped transient luminous event that's classified as mesospheric lightning.
That's possible.
Because I didn't know if that was too niche, but the thing is, I was able to find 2 papers to kind of link the two.
I mean, this is the conference to present niche things like this.
Okay, yeah, because this will technically link the two, because I have a actual photo of the ELVS event, and I have the time domain plot of the spheric, and using these 2 papers, I'm trying to make a connection between the ELF component and the ELVS event, based on the fact that the ELVS event is generated from lightning with continuous currents, and lightning with continuous currents has an ELF component to it.
Yeah, I think that could work. So what I think you should do, let me read this one more time, and then I think it's getting closer. But very low frequency natural radio emissions originate from lightning discharges and interactions with solar wind particles in the magnetosphere. Studying these natural emissions as well as man-made VLF transmissions gives insight to the D and E layers of the ionosphere and magnetosphere. A science-grade VLF system can be constructed using a simple antenna, Raspberry Pi sound card, GNSS receiver, and free open source VLF RX tools. This instrument can be utilized by both professional researchers and citizen scientists to analyze these radio emissions for further study. By recruiting, by recruiting both professionals and citizen scientists, a network of VLF reception systems can be used for global study of natural radio emissions using commercial off-the-shelf components with free open source software. A VLF reception system has been installed in a radio quiet location in Springbrook Township, Pennsylvania, has been in operation for over a year, capturing VLF natural radio emissions, capturing and analyzing natural radio emissions and man-made VLF transmissions with the goal to add more VLF reception systems to this network. In this presentation, we present the design of the system as well as the observations. I think what I'd like you to do is choose 2 or 3 things that you want to show off here, and then list them as well. So it says what you're actually going to show.
Okay, so it would be the 2 dawn chorus events, some Whistler events with that Whistler histogram.
This observations.
It would be a Whistler events analysis, possibly.
In this presentation, we present the design of the system as well as observations.
of
Dawn chorus events, Whistler events, and
a link between elves, TLEs, and ELF Softails. Or
elves, TLEs. What's that? Transient luminous events.
yeah, elves is also capitalized too.
And what was the other one?
ELF tails.
Extremely low frequency tails.
Yeah.
And how do you show this?
So so the paper, the one paper reports that elves TLEs are generated from lightning strokes with continuing currents. And the other paper shows that lightning with continuing currents has an ELF component to it, which is called the ELF tail.
Mm-hmm. What if we said instead of observations as well as, let's see, as well as observation, as well as signatures, observed signatures consistent with observed signatures.
The observed signatures would be the link between elves and ELF tails.
Right, that's, so we say in this presentation, we present the design of the system as well as observed signatures consistent with dawn chorus waves, Whistler events, and the link between elves, transient luminous events, and extremely low frequency tails.
Well, observed signatures for dawn chorus and Whistlers, that doesn't really make sense. But observed signatures, so what we can do,
As well as observations of dawn chorus events, Whistler events, and signatures consistent and signatures consistent and signatures suggesting a link.
Observed signatures suggesting observed signatures of lightning with continuing currents, or lightning strokes with continuing currents, suggesting a link between
And signatures of lightning with continuing currents.
yeah. Yep,
Suggesting a link between elves, transient luminous events, and extremely low frequency ELF tails.
that makes sense.
Okay. Do you have citations you can include to support that?
Yeah, does the citation have to be in the abstract?
No. Just in
Okay,
the
yeah,
poster.
but yeah, I've got two papers.
Okay. Let's read this one more time. Very low frequency VLF 300 hertz to 30 kilohertz natural radio emissions originate from lightning discharges and interactions with solar wind particles in the magnetosphere. Studying these natural emissions as well as man-made VLF transmissions gives insight to the D and E layers of the atmosphere and magnetosphere. A science-grid VLF reception system can be constructed using a simple active antenna, Raspberry Pi sound card, global navigation satellite system GNSS receiver, and free open source VLF RX tool software. This instrument can be utilized by both professional researchers and citizen scientists to capture and analyze these radio emissions for further study. By recruiting both professional and citizen scientists, a network of these VLF reception systems can be used for global study of natural radio emissions using common off-the-shelf COTS components with free open source software. A VLF reception system has been installed in a radio quiet location in Springbrook Township, Pennsylvania, and has been in operation for over a year, capturing and analyzing natural radio emissions and man-made VLF transmissions with the goal to add more VLF reception systems to the network. In this presentation, we present the design of the system, as well as the observations of Dong porous events, Whistler events, and signatures of lightning with continuing current, suggesting a link between ELV's transient luminous events and extremely low frequency ELF tails. I think that
Okay.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we modify the title or change it completely?
I feel like we could do a better title.
Okay. Do you have a suggestion?
I also don't think it's a terrible title.
No, it's not. But it doesn't like it doesn't fit with the abstract as it is.
Yeah, it doesn't quite capture.
So it would be
A new VLF, a new VLF reception system for professional and citizen science applications.
sounds very good.
Let's see. A new VLF reception system for professional and citizen science applications.
Yeah.
Great. Do you want me to submit it?
Yeah.
Great. Let's see. I'll go to cedarscience.org. CEDAR workshop. Find abstract.
Now, if CEDAR is all about, very niche topics and, oddball stuff, then this should fit right in.
Yeah. Well, it's not that it's all about niche topics and oddball stuff. It stands for coupling of energetics and dynamics of atmospheric regions. So any, technical topics, scientific topics relating to the upper atmosphere and how it connects to both the lower atmosphere and out into space are all included here.
Oh, well then in that case, that definitely also fits.
Exactly. So it's not that it's a niche oddball topic. It's actually an appropriate topic for this conference.
Okay.
Abstract submission is open. Okay. So let me just I'm going to accept all changes. Poster title. First name, Jonathan, last name, Rizzo, the University of Scranton. New email. It's actually very nice that they let us do this like non-employee affiliate sort of affiliation.
Yeah.
Abstract text. All right. Jonathan. Your middle initial is D, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan D. Rizzo. Status of author. You're a non-student. Non-student. 0. Current degree. Undergraduate degree. All right, now we get to choose 2 topics. So I think it's
Okay.
definitely IT, instruments or techniques for atmospheric or thermospheric observation. Well, I think it's definitely an instrument. And I think it's more atmospheric or thermospheric than middle atmospheric.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't really have a. There's a magnetosphere, ionosphere, thermosphere coupling.
Yeah, that
You can also do education, outreach, citizen science.
can you do more than 2?
Now you get 2.
Mesosphere, coupling the upper atmosphere with lower attitudes. Equatorial, no. Solar terrestrial interactions in the upper atmosphere. Kind of.
Yeah, it's possible. That one.
Yeah.
I think you could make an argument for that.
Mhm. Oh, they have sprites as a category too. Cool.
Yeah. See, I'm telling you, this is the conference for this.
Oh, perfect. Okay. And this is actually part of a contest, right? Too.
Not. No. They have a student competition, but you're not really a student, so I don't think it's fair to put you in the poster competition. David Down as a non-student.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think
Alright,
it's
that
good.
looks good. Yeah.
Submit. Great. So let me email you this latest version of the abstract.
Okay.
And then we still have to register you for the conference.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop the recording now.